The recording has started.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to start off by saying shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. All praises to the Most High. I hope everybody's having a good evening so far. Tonight's lesson, we're going to break down tithes. You know, a few people in the group has been asking me about tithes over the last, I want to say 3-4 months or so. I know it's come up in the past, people have asked, but you know, we started doing lessons at the shop, then Brother James' house, and then moved to my garage. So we just, over the last two plus years, we just kind of been doing lessons here and there, and the group is grown, and it's shrunk, and it's grown again, and it's shrunk. So we've gone through our moments, but we just never really I mean, at one point we raised a little offering here and there, but it just never really wasn't nothing big. So I know a few people asked, well, hey, why don't we do it? Or, and I just never been a person that says, hey, this is what we got to do, or stick people to it. But tonight we'll go into some precepts on what tithes are and what they will do for you if you do them, and what they would do for you if you don't do them. Okay. We'll get into questions afterwards and any news, but we'll start this off. I told you guys last week I want to put the board together on getting ourselves and just preparing ourselves for the flea mission. Okay, now none of us know when that's going to happen. It can happen in 2 months, it can happen in 8 months, it can happen in 2 years, 3 years. But at least let's be prepared as a people in a group. So if something does happen, boom, all of a sudden you at work, kids is at school, we'll have some type of preparation guideline to get everybody in the same areas. Okay, so let's who's, first of all, who's all on board to being part of this board? And this board I want to put together is just a board that just talks about different things on how we can come together as a group and put together sleeping bags and boxes of food and different things like that. And like I told you guys a few weeks ago, I want to come May or so, when school is out, when it's starting to warm up, as a group take a trip up north and go camping for a couple of days and learn how to get along as a group out somewhat in the wilderness form. Okay. I'll be on the board, but I don't want to be in charge of the board. How about that? Okay. And that's one of the things I really want to be able to say. I'll leave this upon the group and let you guys focus on the board. And we all as a group need to nominate someone. Say, okay, this person's in charge of the board, and then this person, anybody else that wants to be a part of the board, this person will get certain things together. And like I say, maybe once a week we'll open a line, maybe like a Thursday, and open a line for 25 minutes to 30 minutes, and everybody can kind of talk. Or maybe even just twice a month, don't have to be once a week. And say, okay, these are the things we could talk about, because majority of the times we could just talk after a lesson, or somewhat to that nature. But think about it and remind me after this lesson to go back to this. But think about it during the lesson, who you guys would like to kind of, who you guys think is responsible and has due diligence to be able to be in charge of something important like that, in charge of the board, and be able to reach out to people. This person has to be able to communicate through emails or whatever, and if it's time to do something or we need something, get things together. So think about it. All right. Outside of that, that's one of the main issues I want to talk about, is that because you guys, you have to understand, we are in the last year of Obama. And no matter how you look at it, there's going to be some major changes. Okay, Obama's last year, he's going to change things before he go out, and before Hillary Clinton comes in. That's going to be a major change. It's going to be major changes overall, and everybody has to get prepared, whether it's going to be for the good or for the bad. And we all know once you wake up to this truth, majority of that is for the bad. Okay, but we overall want to really prepare ourselves for the mark of the beast, which is coming, the chip. All right, and along with that, you'll have martial law, different things. But that mark is coming soon, and that's why we do these lessons, so we can continue to prepare our souls. All right, let's go right into the precepts. We're going to start off in Numbers 18 and 8. So tonight we'll just talk about reasonings and why people do tithe and why people don't tithe. Okay, and we'll do kind of give the gist of what the Most High thinks of on both sides. Go ahead.
We are in the book of Numbers. We're in chapter 18, verse 8. And it reads, "And the Most High spake unto Aaron, Behold, I also have given thee the charge of mine heave offerings of all the hallowed things of the children of Israel. Unto thee have I given them by reason of the anointing, and to thy sons by an ordinance forever. This shall be thine of the most holy things, reserved from the fire, every oblation of theirs, every meat offering of theirs, and every sin offering of theirs, and every trespass offering of theirs, which they shall render unto me, shall be most holy for thee and for thy sons. In the most holy place shalt thou eat it. Every male shall eat it. It shall be holy unto thee. And this is thine, the heave offering of their gift."
So the heave offering consists of the food offering. You bring all the food, and the food is considered the heave offering. All right? And when you bring these heave offerings, the group, every male shall eat it. Everybody in the holy place shall eat it. Okay, go ahead.
We are in the middle of verse 11. Excuse me, I'm just started at 11 all over. It says, "And this is thine, the heave offering of their gift, with all the wave offerings of the children of Israel. I have given them unto thee, and to thy sons and to thy daughters with thee, by a statute forever. Everyone that is clean in thy house shall eat of it."
So this is a statute forever. These offerings, all right, which is the heave offering, he says this is a statute forever. All right, and we'll get more into the heave offering. Let's go down to verse 21.
We're in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21. "And behold, I have given the children of Levi all the tenth of Israel for an inheritance, for their service which they serve, even the service of the tabernacle of the congregation."
So we all know that Levi got the priesthood. Okay? But we know in the end run, though, the priesthood was opened up to Judah also. All right? Benjamin did some preaching also. But Judah was also because of the reason of the Messiah. Okay, but it says, "I have given the children of Levi all the tenth of Israel for an inheritance." That was their inheritance. Why? Because of their service, which they served, even the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. So that was their job. That was their service. Verse 22.
Verse 22. "Neither must the children of Israel henceforth come nigh the tabernacle of the congregation, lest they bear sin and die. But the Levites shall do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they shall bear their iniquity. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generation, that among the children of Israel they have no inheritance.
So they don't have no inheritance. The priest, the Most High says the guys that I made the priest out of the group, they don't have no inheritance like the rest of you guys. The rest of you guys I've given inheritance. You can go out, you can work, you can gain things. These guys, they have no inheritance. The only thing they can do is the service of the Most High, so they can't go out and gain their profit like you guys. You guys can go out and gain profit. I've given you land. I've given you cattle so you can inherit and become, you know what I'm saying, not rich, but you can live off of it. But Levi, they get nothing. All right, they services to the Most High, and they receive 10th from Israel. Go ahead.
We're in verse 24. No, we're in 25. It says, and the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, thus speak unto the Levites, and say unto them, when ye take of the children of Israel the tithes, which I have given you from them for your inheritance, then ye shall offer up an heave offering of it for the Most High, even a 10th part of the tithe.
So it says, so the children of Israel is to pay a 10th of their tithes to the Levites. And then the Levites, once they get the tithes, they're supposed to do a heave offering, which is a food offering, which is like a feast with the congregation. And then a 10th part of the tithes goes unto the Most High. And now a 10th part of all the tithes that the priest get, the priest can do anything with it to give it back to the Most High. You can put it in a fund and let it grow, or you can do something once every 2 months for someone in the group, or it's a lot that you can do with the 10th part of the tithes. Okay, let's go to Deuteronomy 14 and 22. So if you have like these big churches and things, and they get big, and you see them, they try to do programs and things for the kids and stuff like that, but a lot of that stuff should be free, just due to the fact that 10th part of the tithes that the church is receiving should be going back to the Most High in some type of giving way, some type of gift back towards people in the congregation. Okay, go ahead.
We're in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14, verse 22. And it reads, thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed, that the field bringeth forth year by year. And thou shalt eat before the Most High thy power, in the place which he shall choose to place his name. There, the tithe of thy corn, of thy wine, and of thine oil, and the firstlings of thy herds, of thy flocks, and of thy flocks, that thou mayest learn to fear the Most High thy power always.
So it says, so all year long. So it starts off in verse 22. Thou shalt truly tithe all thy increase of thy seed, that thy field bringeth forth year by year. So it's saying anything you make throughout the year, you shall truly tithe. Okay? And you shall eat before the Most High in the place where he shall choose his name. And there you tithe corn, wine, you tithe anything, whatever it takes. All right? And that's how you start fearing the Most High, is by paying your tithes. You through your tithes, that thou mayest learn to fear the Most High always. Verse 24.
We're in Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 24, and it reads, and if the way be too long for thee, so that thou art not able to carry, or if the place be too far from thee, which the Most High thy power shall choose to set his name there, when the Most High thy power hath blessed thee, then shalt thou turn it into money.
So in verse 23, it's talking about the tithes of thy corn, the tithes of thy wine, the tithes of thy oil. These are the tithes that you do. So many different tithes. It says you shall eat it before the Most High. You have so many different tithes. But he says, hey, if the place where I place for my name to be, that you eat, and you can't carry this, it's too far, or it be too heavy, then you shall turn it into money. Go ahead.
We're in the middle of verse 25. It says, and bind up the money in thine hand, and shall go unto the place which the Most High thy power shall choose. And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after, for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink, or for whatsoever thy soul desireth. And thou shalt eat there before the Most High thy power, and thou shalt rejoice, thou and thine household. And the Levite that is within thy gates, thou shalt not forsake him, for he had no part nor inheritance with thee.
So when y'all come to this place, and y'all bring all this food, and if you can't bring no food, you bring the money. But it says, but the Levite that's within the gates, thou shalt not forsake him. Don't abandon the Levite. Don't forget about the priest. Like I said earlier, why? He can't go out and work. He can't do a lot, so he's stuck doing the services of the Most High. So when you come and you do things and you rejoice, don't forget about the priest. Okay? Let's go down to verse 28. But a lot of people say, well, why should I pay tithes? What's the reasoning? And, you know, honestly, I was one of those people. Especially when you're going to crooked churches and you're doing things that you just don't see fit. It makes you second guess why you should do something like this. And but the Most High says don't have that heart, no matter what. And when you, and I'm glad I got the understanding on this a couple weeks ago, because like I said, I was one of those people that's one of the reasons why I never mentioned it to the group here, because I was like, you know what, I've been in church my whole life, and I've seen a lot of no good, and so I was always a person that would say I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna stay on the opposite end of what I seen done. Okay, Deuteronomy 14:28.
We're in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14, verse 28. At the end of the 3 years, thou shalt bring forth all the tithe of thine increase the same year, and shalt lay it up within thy gates. And the Levite, because he had no part nor inheritance with thee, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow, which are within thy gates, shall come, and shall eat and be satisfied, that the Most High thy power may bless thee in all the work of thine hand which thou doest.
So it's just saying every 3 years you come together and you bring the tithes together and you feed the poor. Okay, that's basically what that's saying. Okay, and that last part of that says, thy power may bless thee in all the work of thy hand which thou doest. So if you do this, everything that you do when you work with your hands, so say you're a barber, you cut hair, this is how you make your money. But the Most High said if you're doing this, he's going to bless those hands. The Most High may bless thee in all the work of thine hands which thou doest. So everything you do now in your work, he's going to bless it for what you're doing. Okay, so like I said, a lot of people say, why should I pay tithes? Well, because he says he's going to bless you. That job or that in-source, that resource where you're getting the money from, if you do what a higher say to do, he's going to bless those hands that's allowing you to go make that money. Okay? 2 Corinthians 9 and 6. So, like I said, so he will continue to bless you and it increase. Alright? And your increase, see, a lot of people, they get stingy and they say, well, I'm making money now, I don't need nobody, I don't need this, and before you know it, it might take 2 years. But the Most High gonna cut you off sooner or later. You're gonna be like, man, that was a good. You're gonna be reminiscing on how good that job used to be. Man, I remember when I was making some good money, man. Well, don't be that person. Do right in the flesh, and the Most High will continue to bless you. Go ahead.
2 Corinthians, chapter 9, verse 6. But this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly. And he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully.
So if you give little, you reap little. You give what you're supposed to give, you reap what you're supposed to give, and much more. Break down the definition of sowed.
We have sowed, it is scattered on ground as seed, sprinkled with seed. As ground,
So it says sowed is scattered on the ground as a seed. So you sprinkle this. So you throwing a bunch of seeds. It's not one or two seeds. You're not counting the seeds. Like, I'm only going to put 3 right here. No. You kind of just, you know what I'm saying? Sow, you scatter. Break down the word reap.
We have reap. It is to gather, to obtain, to receive as a reward, as the fruit of labor or of works, in a good or bad sense.
So it says reap. So you heard the word reap what you sow, but reap can be in the good or bad sense. So you reap what you sow. So if you do something bad to somebody, you're going to reap it. But if you do some good things to somebody, you'll reap that also. So that's why it says in the good sense. But reap is to gather, to obtain, to receive a reward. Read 9 and 6 again. So sowed means to scatter or to sprinkle, and reap means to gather or receive reward. Go ahead.
2 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 6. But this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully.
Okay, so he that sprinkles sparingly shall reap sparingly. Break down sparingly.
We have sparingly. It is G5340. Sparingly is G5340. And it is Phedomenos. 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 And we got abstemishly, that is stingly. Stingily.
Alright. So it says sparingly is stingily. Somebody that's stingy. Alright, that's what sparingly means, stingy. Okay, so it says, but this I say, he which soweth stingily shall reap also stingily. So if you want to be stingily when you give, then in the daytime when the Most High come to judge your work, he gonna be kind of stingy with you also. Okay, give the Webster definition for bountifully.
We have bountifully. It is liberally, largely, in a bountiful manner.
Largely.
Large.
All right. Largely. You said largely. So largely. But I say this, 9 and 6. 2 Corinthians 9 and 6. But I say, but this I say, he which soweth stingily shall reap also stingily. And he which soweth largely, bountifully, shall reap also bountifully. So don't cheat yourself. Okay? So don't cheat yourself. So if you're going to do it, don't be stingy about it, and don't cheat your heart. Most High says, listen. Alright? You're going to reap what you sow. And don't be that person that says, well, I'm only going to do this, and then that's what he's going to do for you. And then you always wondering why things are kind of going hard for you, because he's judging you off of your works. That's what your reward is. Your reward is off of what you do. Proverbs 11 and 24. So he says, if you do pay your tithes, you will, the Most High will bless thee in all the works of thy hand which thou doest. So what you do, your job that you wake up and do every day, he's going to bless those hands. Okay? But don't do it sparingly. Don't have a problem with it. Somebody that's being stingy with something, I mean, they got a problem with the situation. I don't know if I want to really do this, so I'm only going to give a couple dollars because I don't believe it. And what's the problem? I mean, you got a problem with it. But somebody come in and say, hey, you know what, I like that. You know what I'm saying? I support that. Or they, you see a bum that's asking for money, people stingy. If you're gonna give them something, give them a couple dollars then. Don't give them 50 cents. Why you? If you're gonna get a bum something, don't give them 50 cents. What is 50 cents gonna do for this bum? You're gonna take the time to give him something, at least give him a couple dollars, and now he'd be like, you know what, thank you. Even though he should be thanking with the 50 cents. But if you're gonna do it, do it. You know what I mean? Proverbs 11:24.
We're in the book Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 24. And it reads, there is that scattereth and yet increaseth, and there is that withholdeth more than is meet, but it tendeth to poverty.
Okay, so it says that at the end right here, it says, and there is that withholdeth more than is meet. So there is people that hold more than what they should have, and it turns into poverty. It turns into poor. He'll take it and turn it into poor quick. You withhold. What you withholding this for? You got more than you need anyway. What you withholding for? I will take it and turn it into poverty if you don't do right with it. All right. There is that scattered and yet increase, and there is that withholdeth. All right. So you have people that scattered. That's what we just said. All right. He sowed the seed. What he do? He scatters the seed. So if you scatter the seed, it increases. But if you withhold, he's gonna turn it into poverty. All right. That's clear as day. Let's go to Luke 6:38. So don't be that person that says, well, hey, you know what? I got. If you got a problem with it, just don't do it. And then, you know, the Most High will just whatever on the back end. Just I'm not saying if anybody don't pay tithes that they're not going to get blessed. That's nothing that's coming out of my mouth right now. If you don't pay tithes, I'm not that guy that's going to say, well, if you don't pay your tithes, he ain't going to bless you. No, because listen, I truly believe if you walk in the way and become a righteous individual, you're still going to have salvation over to you. Okay? Now, your blessings while you walk in the flesh, it's a different story. Okay? Luke 6:38.
We're in the book of Luke, chapter 6, verse 38. And it reads, get, and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, and shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that ye met, withal it shall be measured to you again.
So whatever you do, all right, you have a kind heart, you're doing good to people, you treating people good in the situation. The Most High says, I'm going to measure it out and bring it back to you. And not only will he measure it out and bring it back to you, most likely he's going to double it. He's going to continue to increase it. So he says, what you do to someone else, expect it to be done to you. Turn it around. So what you want done to you, you do to others. Okay? If you won't, because you never know. You never know when you're going to be down and out. You never know when something's going to be going bad. So if you're doing good, do good to others. That way, when you need a little help or something's going wrong, others will say, hey, you know what? I got you. You know, I wipe your back, you wipe mine. It's contagious. But if you're that type of person that treat people, you stingy, you sparingly with things, you got a problem with people, you got it good, and then the moment you got it bad, people gonna be looking at you like, man, you deserve that. I remember when you had it good, you was stingy, you looked down on people, you was just really bad with it. 2 Corinthians 9:6.
We're in the book of 2 Corinthians.
9:7.
Chapter 9, verse 7. And it reads, every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him get, not grudgingly or of necessity, for the Most High loveth a cheerful giver.
So like I say, so if you do tithes, or you do something, or if you do give somebody something, or you see you pull up the grand tomorrow and the bum walk up to you with the sign like, you be like, man, y'all always asking for something. You give them $1, but you mad as you giving it to them. You talking smack. No, be a cheerful giver. You giving somebody something, be like, hey, how you doing? Hey, man, talk to them. Let them know you happy. You happy to do this. Don't ever make somebody, when you give somebody something, make them feel like, well, man, should I even be taking this from Brother Ed? You know what, Brother Ed? I'm cool, man. If somebody give you something and then they give it back, that mean they felt wrong. They didn't even feel good taking it. So now, you have to be cheerful. Don't be a grudgeful person when you do things like this for the Most High. Verse 8.
Verse 8. And the Most High is able to make all grace abound towards you, that ye always having all sufficiency in all things may abound to every good work. As it is written, He hath dispersed abroad, He hath given to the poor, His righteousness remaineth forever. Now he that ministereth seed to the sower, both ministereth bread for your food, and multiply your seed sown, and increase the fruits of your righteousness.
So it says, so the minister, he should be feeding you this word, which is your food. And he should be feeding it to where your soul is increasing for the righteous path. If your soul is not being fed to where you feel like you're growing righteously, then you're in the wrong place. So that's what it just says here. Now he that ministers seed to the sower, both minister bread of your food. So this is the food for your soul. Right. How do you know when you're getting that food for that soul? One of the brothers came in earlier and said, hey, I don't eat meat. Hey, the soul is being fed the right way now. So now in the flesh, he no longer craves the normal food that he was eating. So then people say, well, brother, how can you just cut that stuff out real quick? Because I'm being fed through the spirit now. Spiritually, I'm being fed, so I don't need all that meat. I don't need all that stuff that people crave for in the flesh. I'm giving it to my soul now. So the more you start do diligently tying yourself into the Most High, you get fed in a different way. Okay? But he says this minister should be helping the poor to become righteousness forever. That's what verse 9 says. All right? Giving to the poor his righteousness, and it remaineth forever. Verse 11.
We're in 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 11. And it reads, being enriched in everything to all bountifulness, which causeth, which causeth through us thanksgiving to the Most High. For the administration of this service not only supplieth the want of the saints, but is abundant also by many thanksgivings unto the Most High. Whilst by the experiment of the ministration they glorify the Most High for your professed subjection unto the gospel of Christ, and for your liberal distribution unto them and unto all men.
So it says for the administration of this service, okay, it says since this minister is feeding the word, you guys should be very thankful unto the Most High. All right, and whilst by the experiments of this administration, all right, break down experiment.
We have experiment. It is G1382. Experiment is G1382, and we have Dokime, and it is DOKIME, 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 and it is test. Abstractly, concretely, by implication, trustiness, experience.
So test, trustiness, experience. Okay. So the word wows mean through. So through, by the experience of this ministration. All right. they glorify Ahia for your professed subjection unto the gospel of Christ. Okay? Break down the word liberal.
We have liberal. It is G572. Liberal is Greek 572. And it is hoplotes. Hoplotes. And it is spelled H-A-P-O-L-O-T-E-S. Hoplotes. H-A-P-L-O-T-E-S. And it is singleness. That is subjectively generosity.
So liberal is, we'll go with the word generosity. And now break down distribution.
We have distribution. It is G2842. Distribution is Greek 2842. And it is koinonia. Koinonia. And it is K-O-I-N-O-N-I-A. Koinonia. And it is partnership. That is literally participation, social, intercourse, fellowship.
So distribution, partnership, we'll go with fellowship. Okay. Read 13 again. So experiment means experience. Liberal, generosity, distribution, fellowship. Go ahead. If you can do it, go ahead. You got it?
I can see on solid. It says, whilst by, we're in 2 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 13. It says, whilst by the experience of the ministration they glorify the Most High for your professed subjection to the gospel of Christ, and for your generosity, fellowship unto them and unto all men.
So it says, so through the experience of the minister, which is the teacher, being taught how to honor Ahia. So through the experience of the minister, through his experience, he's teaching you how to honor Ahia. That's what that starts off with. Through the whiles mean through. So through by experience of the administration, they glorify Ahia. Okay, so they're being taught to glorify Ahia, and because they acknowledge your subjection, all right, unto the gospel. So the next part says they glorify Ahia for your professed subjection. Profess means acknowledge. So they acknowledge the subjection unto the gospel of the Messiah. So because they acknowledge the subjection of the priest unto the gospel of the Messiah, and because of the generosity of his fellowship. So there's no time limit on nothing. The minister says there's always generosity on the fellowship. There's always a time for teaching. Break down the word generosity.
We have generosity. It is the quality of being generous, liberality in principle, a disposition to give liberally or to bestow favors, a quality of the heart or mind opposed to meanness or parsimony.
Parsimony. So it says opposed to meanness or parsimony. Break down the word meanness.
Meanness. It is.
Spell it for him.
Meanness. 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 It is want of dignity or rank. Want of honor.
So meanness is someone who's looking for some type of ranking. Honor me. I'm the man. Next one.
Parsimony. Parsimony.
Spell it for him.
We have P-A-R-S-I-M-O-N-Y. Parsimony. And it is closeness or sparingness in the use of, in the use or expediture,
yeah,
of money.
So, someone who's stingy. All right, parsimony, which is someone who's stingy, and meanness is someone who's looking for honor. I'm the high rank around here. Someone that's always looking for some type of pull or collateral. Okay, so someone who's always giving. All right, so with the precept we just read in verse 13 breaks down someone who's always giving. That's time and teaching. All right, giving can mean helping somebody with something, but also giving them time. Somebody call and say, "Hey, you got an hour or so? You got half an hour? I want to go over something." And you'd be like, "Yeah." They're not on a time schedule. All right, favors, loans, whatever it may be. And this person doesn't think that he's better than anybody else in the group. He says, "Hey, that's how your minister should be." Your minister don't walk around and say, "Well, I don't have the time right now." Or, "Hey, you know what? That's stupid." They kind of separate themselves from the group. The fellowship should be the same. Everybody's one person. And this person is not looking for special rank, nor this person is looking for time to be paid. All right, y'all on my time. They always trying to rush people. Or, you literally got ministers. They won't go into extra stuff unless it's a church setting or something to where they're getting paid. You don't have too many people that'll come out on their own and say, "Hey," or "Hey, come over," and you can go to them, or they can come to you at any given time. You call them and they'll give you great advice. All right, so, and that's what it's become nowadays. When you go to a lot of ministers and a lot of preachers, these guys, they'll tell you to come to church, and but the fellowship and wise, all you trying to do is just really get some things answered and some questions answered on everyday life. And a lot of times people don't have that genuine heart. Why? Because they're into it for the wrong reasons. All right, verse 14.
We're in 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 14. And it reads, "And by their prayer for you, which long after you for the exceeding grace of the Most High in you, thanks be unto the Most High for his unspeakable gift."
All right, let's go to Deuteronomy 12 and 11. So you guys, when you become a generous person, you be generous. You don't do things with a grudgeful heart. And then even when you become a saint unto the Most High, you say, "Hey, I want to do the works of the Most High." All right, you always got to have an open time frame. You always have to be the most generous person in the church. And when I mean generous, I mean the most generous time-wise, giving-wise, whatever. You got to be the most giving person. That way everybody within the organization feels comfortable to go into that person, whether it's about talking about something dealing with work, whether it's something talking about dealing with a relationship. Everybody in the organization should feel comfortable enough to go to the minister or the priest or whoever's running that organization. All right, it should never be someone that says, "Well, you know what, nah, he kind of, I don't know." No, they should always know they're going to get the right answer, at least for that moment, because that right answer is coming from the Messiah. Okay, Deuteronomy 12 and 11.
We in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 12, verse 11. And it reads, "Then there shall be a place which the Most High your power shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. Thither shall ye bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings, and your sacrifices, your tithes, and the heave offering of your hand, and all your choice vows, which ye vow unto the Most High."
So it says, the place where he tells you to go do this stuff, okay, all your sacrifices, your tithes, and he says, "and the heave offering of your hand, and all your choice vows, which you vow unto the Most High. So all your prayers, all those things you ask for, which you shouldn't be asking for, but all those prayers you vow unto the Most High, and you're going to Him with these prayers, now these prayers will be answered if you're doing your sacrifices unto the Most High, which is your tithes and your heave offerings, all right, and your choice vows, which you have vowed unto the Most High. All these work in the same category. 1 Timothy's 5 and 17.
We're in the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 5, verse 17. And it reads, "Let the elders that rule well be counted worthy of double honor, especially they who labor in the word and doctrine."
All right. The word rule means stand before. Break down the word well.
We have well, it is G2573. Well is G2573. And we have kalos. Kalos. And it is Kalos. Kalos. And it is in a good place, honestly.
All right. So well means honestly.
We
Break
have
down honor.
We have honor. It is G5092. G5092. And it is T-Man. T-Man. And it is spelled T-I-M-E. T-Man. T-I-M-E. And it is a value. That is money paid. We're breaking down labor. Labor is G2872. G2872. And it is Corpio. Corpio. And it is K-O-P-I-A-O. Corpio. And it is to feel fatigue, by implication to work hard, bestow, labor, toil, be weary.
Okay. So rule means stand before well, honestly, honor, a value, labor, to feel fatigue, toil, be weary. Read that precept again. Just read it.
1 Timothy 5 and 17 says, "Let the elders that rule well be counted worthy of double honor, especially they who labor in the word and doctrine."
So it says, so let the elders that stand before you, all right, let the elders that stand before you rule in honor. They stand before you in honesty. These people are honest, all right, in a good place, honestly, all right. But the last part says, especially they who labor in the word and doctrine. So if you have an elder who labors in the word and doctrine, and labor right here says to feel fatigue, toil, be worried. So feel fatigue, somebody that's weary, somebody that goes to a mental exhaustion. So those who fatigue themselves in the word, that's what it means, a mental exhaustion. Break down the word toil. So it says the word labor had toil in there. We're going to give you the definition of toil.
We have toil, and it is with efforts of some continuance of duration.
So toil with efforts of some countenance of duration. So it says, let the elders that stand before you with honesty be counted worthy of double honor, especially they who labor in the word and doctrine. Okay? And they labor in the word and doctrine by fatiguing themselves mentally, for a toll, for a duration. Okay, so someone that's always in the word and in the doctrine. That's what it means. And this person is in the word and in the doctrine until they absolutely fatigue themselves out for long periods of time. Verse 18.
We're in 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 18. It says, "For the scriptures say, Thou shalt not muzzle the ox that treadeth out the corn, and the laborer is worthy of his reward."
So the ox that treaded out of the corn, the ox were allowed to eat while they worked. So that's why it says, hey, if you're going to work this ox to death, don't muzzle him to where he can't eat. No, take the muzzle off. You're going to work him to death. At least let the ox eat while he can work. That way he can continue to work hard. Okay? So therefore, for the same as the elders that labor in the word and doctrine, they must be well provided for, is what he was saying. The laborer is worthy of his hire. Verse 19.
1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 19. "Against an elder receive not an accusation, but before 2 or 3 witnesses."
So you ever have a problem with the elder? Don't you start accusing the elder or something. If you got a problem with the elder, you say, okay, then, well, hey, I'm gonna go grab a couple more people from the church or the group, and I'm gonna see if they would come with me before the elder so I can bring this problem out, versus saying, oh, this, or versus saying, oh, that, or accusing the elder behind closed doors. No, if you got a problem, you take that problem amongst the elder with 2 to 3 people. Okay? Hebrews 3 and 17.
13.
Oh yeah, Hebrews 13 and 17. Sorry about that. So don't be one of those people that's in a group and then you have a problem with the elder, and now you behind closed doors talking bad about the elder. What did Ahiah do to Miriam when she was talking bad about Moses? He hit her with the leprosy plague. Okay, I don't care if Moses is your brother. Who are you? You realize he's a servant of mine? Okay, that's what he had to explain to Miriam. Hey, I don't care if he is your brother. Don't talk bad about this guy. Go ahead.
We're in the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 17. And it reads, "Obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls, as they that must give account, that they may do it with joy, and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you."
So it says, for obey them that rule over you. So the elder, he's not ruling over you. He's just the person that's bringing the word to you. Okay, and that goes for women too, also at home over with your husband. Obey them that rule over you. So the elder, the Most High needs you to submit yourselves. Why? Because the elder is watching over your soul. He cares for you. Okay? And the same with the husband. The husband cares for you wives. That's why they own you. That's why they're giving you the precepts. That's why they're trying to steer you in the right direction, because they're watching over your soul. They have a special care that you don't even understand. And that's why sometimes a lot of you people in the group, I'll just call you out of the blue and say, hey, what's good? Especially if you maybe ain't come around in a couple days or something. I'm watching over your soul. I care. The moment I see you slipping a little bit, 5%, I'm coming. I'm the guy. I'm like, they go Ed again? Hey, I think they would get it. Yep. Most High said, go get them. Because the Most High has me with a certain care that y'all don't even know about. Watching over your soul. Some of y'all, I might care about your soul more than you do. You don't even realize it. That's why I'm on y'all all the time. That's why I'm always saying, hey, let's get this, especially the brothers. Ask the brothers. I'm always on these brothers. Because I care about the households. I care about the families. So I go to the brothers first. So you sisters, y'all probably don't see it a lot. But I ask these brothers after lesson how often in the morning. How I call them. Or the moment if something don't go right. Who's the first person to call? Because that's how we got to be. And that's how we keep each other sharp. The moment y'all see me slipping a little bit, hey brother, that don't look too good. That wasn't normal. Call me out. That's how we keep each other going. Okay? It's not about who's right or wrong or who's better than the other. It's about keeping each other sharp. We're all part of this office, this body, this corporation. You got one office, I got one office. But in order for the whole corporation to run smoothly, each office has to be successful. Okay? Hebrews 7:1.
We in the book of Hebrews. We're in chapter 7, verse 1. And it reads, For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all, first being by interpretation king of righteousness, and after that also king of Salem, which is king of peace, without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto the Son of the Most High, abideth a priest continually. Now consider how great this man was, unto whom the patriarch Abraham gave the tenth of the spoils.
Okay, so it says Abraham, our forefather. All right, he paid his tithes. He gave a tenth of his spoils to Melchizedek. He appreciated Melchizedek for blessing him. He appreciated Melchizedek for giving him the righteous path, the righteousness. So it says Abraham then gave Melchizedek a tenth of his spoils to show his blessings, to show his appreciation. Okay. Genesis 28:20. So no matter how big Abraham got, no matter who he was, he knew he was special. He still did what he had to do unto the Most High to receive his blessings in the long run. Okay. And this is why Abraham eventually what? Ended up getting what? The biggest blessing ever, right? Mm-hmm. He ended up getting the biggest blessing ever because he did what he was supposed to do. Right? Because this is what it's telling you right here. Melchizedek was the king. He was the king of righteous. And then he went and he blessed Abraham and then passed it on to Abraham. But in that process, while Abraham was getting taught by Melchizedek, he paid his tenth to him. Okay, and then just like Abraham, once he became the man, then he got paid through his blessings by who? The Levites, Aaron and his sons. All right, so it kind of goes down. Okay, Genesis 28:20.
We're in the book of Genesis, chapter 28, verse 20. And it reads, And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, If the Most High will be with me, and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Most High be my power, and this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be the Most High's house. And of all that thou shalt give me, I will surely give the tenth unto thee.
So Jacob did the same thing. Jacob says in verse 20, and Jacob vowed a vow. Okay? And saying, if Ahiah will be with me and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on. He says, so hey, the Most High is going to bless me with food and raiment. I don't need to worry about that, because that's another reason why a lot of people probably won't pay tithes or do something. They will say, well, you know what, man, I only got enough for my household. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to pay tithes. I'm not going to do that. I can't do that because I only got enough for my household, and I don't know where it's going to come from. So, but you don't understand. You might, Most High might be saying, hey, you're last. Don't be worrying about what you're going to be getting, food or clothes. Pay that, and then I'm going to bring it back to you. But if you that person being stingy, hey, I only got last, so I'm not going to pay nothing. This is only for my... Now, that's going to be your last for the next month. You're going to be holding on to that little pension on to it, wondering why nothing else ain't came through the house. Go to Matthew 6:31. So you have to understand, Jacob said right here, hey, as long as he's giving me food to eat and paying for my clothes, I'm gonna pay my tenth to him surely. Okay? As long as I got food to eat and clothes on my back, I'm paying my tenth to the Most High. There won't be no excuse that, well, you know what? I only got food and clothes to eat. I can't even pay this. Nah, he don't care about your bills. So that's what you understand. The bills come from the so-called white man. Most High didn't put these bills in your life. The only thing he told you to worry about is what? Food and clothing. We go over that precept all the time. You know, he don't care about all that other stuff that you are part of now. You have to. That's why he wants you to pull away from the world. Once you pull away from the world and you follow your spirit rightly, he'll get you away from that world to where you're not worrying about all these different bills like that, because you're so tied up into Babylon. Now you got 100 bills that's slaving you. You done got tied into all these bills and contracts. Now you a slave to take care of all these bills. Pull away from Babylon. Start eliminating all these little extra bills. Now you ain't slaving yourself as hard. Now you can live a little comfortable. I don't got to worry about that. I don't got to worry about that. You got 2, 3 cars. It might be time to get one of them, because that's insurance. That's insurance. That's insurance. So now people got to start worrying, like, how can I start eliminating some of the stress? Come in the household, you got Cox cable with the flex package with all this. Nah, come on now. And you wonder why every month you struggling and stressing. Get rid of it. Matthew 6:31.
We in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 31. And it reads, therefore, take no thought, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or wherewithal shall we be clothed?
Don't ask this. Don't question. Go ahead.
Verse 32. For after all these things do the Gentiles seek. For your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things.
So a higher knows what you need. So don't be that person that be like, I'm not going to do this because I don't know where it's going to come from if I do this. If I go pay this much, then I don't know where it's going to come from. So he says, listen, this is what the Gentiles seek. The Gentiles have taught y'all to live like that. The Gentiles have taught y'all to hold on and be stingy and don't do something until you know where it's coming from again. No, faith means I'm going to do this for the Most High. And if it's my last, oh well. And I have faith that he's going to bring it back to me. I'm not going to be sitting here saying, no, this is my last and I'm going to hold on to it. And I don't know what I'm going to eat tomorrow if I do this. If I pay this, what am I going to eat tomorrow for me and my kids? He said, don't think like that. That's not how we think. All right. Verse 33.
Verse 33. We in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 33. Verse 33 says, but seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
So if you seek the Most High first, if you seek his kingdom first, and you shall receive righteousness, then all these things will be added unto you. So instead of questioning, well, if I do this, if I pay tithes or if I do something for the poor, what am I going to have on Thursday? It's Monday and you be like, well, I only got this much for the week. So I ain't going to do nothing else. I'm going to hold on because I know this is my budget for the week. So you already got it planned out. Most High said that's how the Gentiles have taught y'all to live. Plan it out. Well, I only got this much, so I can only do this. No, he says that's how they live. But if you seek after the kingdom first, now things will be added unto you because you're doing things in the way of a higher. You're not second guessing why you're doing this. All right. Last part of the night. Let's go to Luke 6:20. So you have to understand, you have to think like a poor person almost. I hate to say it, but you have to kind of think like a poor person. You almost have to have that poor mind state. Don't get haughty in the mind to where you stingy and you don't want to do something. I don't want to know. You have to have the poor man state. You know? Just like the other day, and I just tell y'all this, but I just tell y'all because this is how we're supposed to be. But the other day, my cousin called me. And I'm down to my last dollars. And he called me like, hey, Kimbo. Hey, and he was like, he kind of asked me for some help. And I was like, man, I can't really help you right now. Usually I could. And he was like, but he called me back like 2 more times. And I was like, well, Kimbo, all I got is like 82 bucks in my pocket. And he needed 75. I was like, well, what you really need it for? Cuz he's like, man, I'll bring it back to you, man. I was like, you know what? Come get it. I'm like, what? So he come and get it, and I explained to him, hey, I got $82. I'm gonna give you 80 of it. You said you're gonna bring it back, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna bring it back, man, cuz whatever. Like, all right, this is what we supposed to do for each other. I gave the man 80 and kept 2. And told him, hey, I'm gonna trust in you. But that's how you gotta be, you guys. You can't say, well, this is my only, so I can't help. Nah, he probably needed that way more than I needed at that moment. And that's kind of how you gotta be in the situation. You gotta take yourself far from the Gentiles' ways. The Gentile ways have told you, no, that's your last. You better do something with it. Nah, I just did something with it. I gave it to somebody else. How about that? 6 and 20.
We in the book of Luke, chapter 6, verse 20. And it reads, and he lifted up his eyes on his disciples and said, blessed be ye poor, for yours is the kingdom of the Most High.
All right, so when the Messiah looked at the disciples, he says, blessed ye be poor. So you the poor people around here. And guess what, though? For yours is the kingdom of Ahia. Verse 21.
Verse 21. Blessed are ye that hunger now, for ye shall be fed. Blessed are ye that weep now, for ye shall laugh.
All right. So, hey, you that weep now, you that's hungry now, bless ye that are hungry now. You'll be filled in the last days, but right now you hungry. You're doing pretty bad, and you're weeping. Okay, but you will have the last laugh. But it's basically saying poor men in regards of this world's and a poor man in regards of this world's goods, you're doing bad. So in regards to this world, yeah, you're poor, but according to the Most High, you're not poor. All right, you're rich in the spirit. As long as you stay rich in the spirit, that's why he said in the beginning in verse 20, ye are poor, but the kingdom is yours. Okay, but poor man of Ahia, if you're a man of Ahia, you're poor in the flesh, but you understand the hard-pressed struggle. You understand the struggle. So you weep a lot. You go through a lot. So that's what it means when it says weep, verse 22.
Verse 22, we're in the book of Luke, chapter 6, verse 22. It says, blessed are ye when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you, and cast out your name as evil for the Son of Man's sake. Rejoice ye in that day, and leap for joy. For behold, your reward is great in heaven. For in the like manner did their fathers unto the prophets. But woe unto you that are rich, for ye have received your consolation.
Consolation is just comfort. So it says, you that are rich, woe to you that are rich, you have received your consolation. You have received your comfort. Okay? You don't care about your spirit. Now that you're rich in the flesh, you have received your comfort. You shouldn't be comfortable in the flesh. Okay? And we shouldn't be comfortable because we're looking for the kingdom. The kingdom is our comfort. Verse 25.
Luke chapter 6 verse 25. Woe unto you that are full, for ye shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep.
So the people that are hungry, okay, they're going to laugh later because they're hungry now, and they're going to laugh later, and they're weeping now. But it says, woe unto you that are full now, in the end you shall hunger. And the woe unto you that are laughing now, because you're rich, so you're laughing in the flesh. Ha ha at people that are doing bad, for you shall mourn and weep in the end. Verse 26.
Verse 26. Woe unto you when all men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets. But I say unto you which hear, love your enemies, do good to them which hate you.
So if somebody does you wrong, you do good to them. Just because somebody that hates you and they doing you wrong, love them and still do good to them no matter what. Go ahead.
Verse 28. Bless them that curse you, and pray for them which despitefully use you.
So people that insult you, people that do you wrong, that's despitefully use you. Slander to your name, insulting you, saying bad things about you. Pray for these people. 29.
Verse 29. And unto him that smiteth thee on the one cheek, offer also the other, and him that taketh away thy cloak, forbid not to take thy coat also.
So if somebody's smiting you on one cheek, somebody's slapping you on one cheek, turn to the other side and let them slap the other. Don't slap just one. You're going to slap this one, then go ahead and slap the left side. Alright? And then if you're going to steal my clothing, you might as well take my coat. Don't steal my clothing and leave my coat. So it says, hey. So if he's going to come take your clothes, the cloak is clothing. So if he's going to come take away your clothing, then hey, give him your coat also. You know what I'm saying? Verse 30.
Verse 30. Give to every man that asks of thee, and of him that taketh away thy goods, ask them not again.
So this is how the Messiah was. When the Messiah came, all right, and they was treating him like bad, really bad. He spitting on them, stepping on them, doing everything. He didn't run. They spit on him. He wiped it off. He spit on the other side. He wiped it off. You know what I mean? And then it says, give to every man that asks thee. So if somebody asks you for something, don't go into a summary or a reason why they need this. Well, what do you need it for? What do you need? If you got it and you see somebody in need, help them out. Don't be that person like, well, I gave this to you, so now that you finally give it to him, and then now you're looking for it to come back. It says, give to every man that asketh thee, and of him that taketh away thy goods, ask not of him, not again. All right, so don't give somebody something and then looking for the return. Or if somebody comes and steals something from you, somebody comes steal something from you, and you find out he stole it, you know, hey, he needed that. Okay, like if I go out to my car right now and I see the windows broken, somebody stole something, and then I come back up here, see somebody with my goods, yeah, I might talk to him about it, give him some advice, but don't go crazy and now it's time to kill him because he just broke in your car and stole something. It's not worth it. It says right here, let him take it. Let it go. It's materialistic. And this is something that we all got to work on. Well, I do that right now. If somebody came in here and took something of mine, will I be just that generous and not want to go back after it? But according to the Messiah said this is how we should be. Okay? And if I give somebody to something, am I going to hound them down 2-3 weeks later, be like, hey, you remember when I gave that to you? You remember, you know what I'm saying? Nah. Okay? Hey, two days later, the way we've been taught, 2 days later, you got the phone on speed dial. Where you at? Verse 31.
Verse 31. And as ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise. For if ye love them which love you, what thank have ye? For sinners also love those that love them.
You ain't doing what thank have you? You ain't doing nothing. So it says, for if you love them which love you, who are you? That don't mean nothing, because sinners, they also love them that love them. What's the difference between you and this sinner? Verse 33.
Verse 33. And if ye do good to them which do good to you, what thank have ye? For sinners also do even the same. And if ye lend to them of whom ye hope to receive, what thank have ye? For sinners also lend to sinners to receive as much again.
Like I say, so that don't make you nothing. That don't make you nothing just because you're doing good for people, or just because you're lending money. Okay, it says, what thank have ye? Don't make you know that they don't give you no higher push or nothing just because you went and did something good or you have love for somebody. Sinners do the same thing. Sinners do good things. Sinners love people, but you have to separate yourself in a different manner. Okay? So the point here is he says, hey, everybody do good things. Everybody love people, but you have to separate yourself and walk down a righteous path to where you're completely different. Okay? Verse 35.
Verse 35. But love ye your enemies, and do good, and lend, hoping for nothing again. And your reward shall be great, and ye shall be the children of the highest. For he is kind unto the unthankful and to the evil.
So what makes you different from a sinner? You do these things because you shall receive nothing again. You're looking for no reward. You're doing everything out of the kindness of your heart. And the Most High says when you do this, the Messiah says when you do this, you shall become the children of the highest. Alright, so when you lending and you loving your enemies and you doing good, no matter what, somebody hates you and you still finding a way to say good things about this person, you praying about them, you are the children of the highest. Verse 36.
Verse 36. Be ye therefore merciful, as your Father also is merciful. Judge not, and ye shall not be judged. Condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven.
So if you can forgive, then you'll be forgiven. But if somebody does something to you and you can't forgive them, you just can't get past it for some reason. Nope, I got a problem with this person. No matter what, you just got a problem with it. The Most High says, well, I can't forgive you then. And by the way, if you're quick to judge somebody, you better hope you got all your ducks in line and all your I's dotted and your T's crossed, because if you don't, you're about to get the judgment of the day. Judge not, and ye shall not be judged. So don't take the time to judge somebody if you ain't ready to be judged. The Most High got double on your judgment if you decide that, well, you judging people looking at them. Well, such and such, nah, it ain't us. He didn't tell you to do that. That ain't who we are and what we're to do. Worry about yourself. Okay? There's so much we can do on a daily basis to fix our righteous path than to be judging somebody else's path. Just because you changed something, okay, well, I changed this. I read the Bible and I changed this, but somebody else is